Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Devin with Market Vantage. I have the honor and the privilege of being here with Kristen Flynn of KFP Media. Kristen, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Devin. It's fun to be here.
Yeah, so Kristen, first, I think I would just love a quick little intro to you and tell me about your company. What do you guys do?
Sure. So my business is KFP Media. I am a editor producer. So what that means is that I pull teams of people together depending on the needs of a project.
Mhm.
Typically, that means my shooting crews. But we
Sure.
produce all sorts of videos, internal communications, marketing, sales, training, educational, um, corporate communication, testimonial for all sorts of companies, big corporations down to small mom and pop businesses. So it really runs the gamut. And I've been doing this for almost 30 years. So it's been a long
Wow.
time.
That's awesome. What got you started into video? Like 30 years is obviously a while, and there's been
Yeah.
a lot of evolution in video and
Oh, yes.
equipment and stuff like that since. What got you
So
into
when
it?
I first started, I mean, well, I had an internship in high school in the local cable TV station, and I'm pretty sure that that's what did it because there was a woman there that I just thought she was so cool, and I wanted to be like her. I think that that's what I've started to become. I've tried to find her, I haven't been
Mhm.
able to find her, but anyway, yeah. When I first started, I mean, I was advised to get a liberal arts degree. It was not as technical it is now. I mean, now you can get technical degrees, but I got a liberal arts
Mhm.
degree. I went to Tufts University and did
Cool.
internships on the side. And then when I graduated, I landed a job with a very small production company in Watertown, Mass. And Fred Woods. And Fred and I worked together for 15 years. And I did a little bit of everything for him, which was so great because I really learned all the ropes and I learned how to do all the different pieces in production and really learned a lot. We had some great clients. Um, but those were the days where I literally was editing on VHS window dubs. And, when you had to make a change, you had to, I mean, it was a pain in the butt. The shelf life of a video had to be a good 7 to 10 years because it was so
Wow.
expensive to produce. Whereas now, as we know, digital content can be changed instantaneously. So the business has
Right.
changed a lot.
That's interesting. And I guess actually I want to keep on that theme as you've experienced throughout the years. Obviously, a lot's changed, but why is now a more important time for businesses to be taking advantage of video and video-based content?
Now, meaning during COVID-19 or now in
Or, well,
2020?
even the year 2020. Yeah, just in
Yeah.
general.
Well, I mean, all the statistics show that video is so important, right? It can increase traffic to your site. It can increase engagement. It can lead to longer retention of information. And so, and it also doesn't have to break the bank, right? There's so much, I mean, certainly in the past 2 to 3 weeks that we've seen in this kind of self-isolation, people are putting up content like this, right? The Zoom
Mhm.
calls and handmade, authentic, grown content. I mean, which quite frankly what has been a challenge to my business even before this self-isolation. People are creating videos on their iPhones, right? That's what they're doing.
Right.
Um, so I always like to talk about it as if, I don't think my clients care whether I'm using a $50,000 camera to tell a story or my $1,000 iPhone. I feel like the bottom line is how to create the right message, come up with the right message, who's hearing it, who's seeing it, how is it going to be shown, and really try to evoke that emotion from the viewer and as by telling the story. And so that's what I try to do.
That's interesting. And I mean, I think you definitely struck a chord there too with the idea that anybody that has an iPhone or any phone, it doesn't really matter as long as it's smart. And within the last 5 years, you could probably produce something on their own. Talk to me about the value of really thinking about story as a whole as it relates to video rather than just grabbing a phone and shooting something for the sake of shooting it.
Well, because we are all bombarded with so much content, right? I think that content can be differentiated by making sure you have a story behind it. And emotion sells, emotion engages, emotion is what people kind of stop and watch and follow through with rather than just something, And emotion can be funny too, right? It doesn't have to be a heartbreaker. It can be
Right.
something that makes you laugh.
Hmm.
So I think, I like to tell my clients the earliest I can get in on a project, the better, right? Because it's easy enough to say, oh, let's make a video about, this widget. But if we
Hmm.
really try to understand, okay, who is buying this? What do they want to know about it? What are their pain points, right? I mean, I personally like to go right after that pain point and bring it out, just like talk about it. And because we're all thinking it, right? We're all saying, well, yeah, every company says mine's the best because, well, why is that? And how
Hmm.
do you dig further into that? And then you find the customer that uses it. I mean, again, testimonials are so great, right? You
Hmm.
find that customer that's willing to say, I love this product because, I love this service because, and their personal story. And that's what, inherently will make that message stronger.
Right. And that's interesting because a person that we actually interviewed previously had actually said the same exact thing. And so he works in the messaging space now, not specifically video, but helping companies develop their message and customer testimonials and kind of sharing the true story of the organization, not just the superficial sales pitch. Will always work better regardless of what format. So I think it's really interesting to tying those together.
I mean, it is kind of trendy right now too. I get it, and that's, again, that's where you have to kind of put, be create where the creativity comes in, and where, quite frankly, the years of experience come in too, because you kind of know what works and what doesn't, and when you're telling that story. So, and then of
Mhm.
course you got to keep it within, X number of minutes, which is always a challenge too.
Sure. Um, let's dig into that just a little bit more because I think that's an interesting topic. Talk to me about that idea, the years of experience, and how that can lend itself to actually producing better stories than, say, somebody who might just be trying to get into video for the sake of doing it. Do you find that experience will have a greater impact on the quality of the content and the effectiveness of the story?
I mean, that just happens to be my style, right? There's every producer, every editor has a style, and it,
Mhm.
production is subjective. It is. I mean, there's probably more than one way to do the same thing all the time. In fact, there are really good. There's a really neat series out there, and now I can't remember it, of course, but where the same script was given to three different companies and they each produce the same thing. I mean, and
Mm.
it's fascinating to watch because you can go in so many different directions. But
Sure.
I tend to, and always have, base my videos on interviews, testimonials. So
Mhm.
a lot of my majority of my edits are based on, doing a bunch of interviews and then weaving those stories together to tell it. I don't use voiceover and narration as much as, other production companies may do. There's a time and a place for that too, certainly, but it's a documentary style type production. And I
Mhm.
think, some of the interviewing and getting that story from the person that you're interviewing is a skill. And you and I talked a little bit about how you didn't send me any questions. I was like, that's okay, because I never ever ever give an interview subject questions ahead of time. And sometimes I get flack for
Mm.
it because, like, a corporate person may want it to see it and have it, and I was like, mm-mm. Because what I tend to find is that if someone gets the questions ahead of time and then they try to remember what it is that they want to say, it's not as authentic. It doesn't come across as genuine. And I can see people, if they have the question ahead of time, like, trying to word it exactly how they wrote it out for their answer,
Sure.
versus just talking about what they know about. And then
Mm.
that comes across as way more genuine. So I don't give questions. I always try to get personal with people. I think that really helps. Even if you're working in a big manufacturing company, I try to come back down to, how do you feel personally about creating this product that does XYZ? And you get some really interesting answers. And,
Mhm.
again, that's kind of the emotional part that people connect to.
That's cool. Do you think there's particular types of videos that lend itself well to certain businesses over others? Like, do video interviews or client testimonials work better for a certain type of business? Or do you think that each type of video can kind of work effectively for a business
I
if
do
done
not
well?
know what company would not benefit from a testimonial video. I mean, I have done those for, large companies. I mean, I've done a lot of work for places like GE, Monster.com in the past, where we do a bunch of interviews and kind of edit those together based on topic, based on product. And then down to recently, I've done a lot of nonprofits in the Greater Lowell area. I finished some videos for the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Lowell, Community Teamwork of Lowell. And, inherently, obviously, those are, the story is much, it's inherently emotional. It's inherently, it's just listening to these kids talk about how this company, or I'm sorry, how the Boys and Girls Club has changed their lives. You can't go
Hmm.
you can't go wrong with hearing that.
Right.
But then you know I mean, gosh, of course I'm blanking on all the videos I've done at this point, but it's there's a lot there's a lot of people that can benefit from a testimonial. I think that's just my opinion.
That's great. Well, you talked about the Boys and Girls Club. What are some other examples of videos that you've seen work really well for some companies?
Yeah, I mean, those again, the emotional component and the testimonial where somebody is talking or seeing something that the audience can relate to, right? So why do I want to buy this product? Because this peer of mine is looking at it and watching this video and saying, wow, that worked for that person. It can work for me too.
Hmm.
The whole problem solution type situation. I mean, that's like a customer profile video. And in an ideal world, um, we could follow customers around all day long and see exactly how they use products or solutions, and then put that out there for people to see. I mean, that's obviously budget can really play into that, but I think that for example, I mean, the silly examples coming to mind about how probably about 8 or 10 years ago now, I did a bunch of testimonials for an orthodontist, and I kept thinking, well, he's like, oh, I've lined up 15 or 20 of my patients to come in. And I was thinking, how in the world are you going to get 15 or 20 people to say different things about this man? There were 15 to 20 people that said completely different things about this man, which I was then able to edit together into some really beautiful testimonials. And so again, until you start talking to those people, you don't realize how much individuals have to say about something. And oftentimes, quite frankly,
Right.
I mean, my best client is the client that trusts me to say, okay, we're going to go into an interview and we're going to
Hmm.
not have a list of, I know kind of what you want to get at, but just trust me that I'm going to get the right information, because oftentimes a little nugget of something that comes out of our conversation becomes the focus point of the entire video. And that's something that you couldn't have scripted. It's something that you could never have anticipated before that interview. You just don't know what people are going to say that comes across as being kind of the crux of, the story you want to tell.
Right. That's interesting. Um, do you do you have any practical tips then, I guess, in that way of, companies that might be looking to try and get customer testimonials out there? And how easy is it for people to get into video at this point?
I think it's pretty easy, honestly. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of video being produced on the iPhone. I mean, I'm doing it. I'm doing a lot of video on the iPhone right now. Um, I think the key things are to remember is that there's tips for when you're shooting. What doesn't work, right? When you see the
Mhm.
shaky cam like crazy. When you have really bad audio, when you're trying to watch something and you can't hear, that's really bad. So there's things that you can do to keep in mind when you're going out to shoot as an amateur. Get a tripod, get a stabilizer.
Mhm.
I always say a static shot is better than a moving shot when you're an amateur photographer. You don't need to be constantly zooming in and out and panning, like it just makes people dizzy. So just the biggest thing is to shoot a variety of angles. And even if you have to shoot the same process from far away and then close up, or maybe from a different angle and then maybe from the other side, because then you can cut it together and tell that story without having to keep the the whole chronological flow exactly just from one take, and then also with audio, there are plenty of microphones for the iPhone out there that you can get just to enhance your audio a little tiny bit. Will make all the difference in the world too.
That's great to know. Do you have any specific microphones in mind? You can certainly let me know. And then,
yeah. In fact, I just gave them to Hans, so he has the list of stuff that I have because on the Communicators Club talk that we did this week, I kind of give my list of equipment, so I don't have it right now, but I have
that's
a
good to know.
microphone. Yeah. But
I'll make sure to link it.
There's a lot out there.
I can imagine. I want to shift gears just for a little bit and talk about live streaming. I don't know how much you kind of play into this field, but I would love your thoughts at least on how live streaming is kind of coming into play, at least in terms of video.
Yeah, I honestly haven't done a lot of live streaming. My clients, I create the kind of the video for, then they deal with the distribution of it, but in terms of a live streaming an event or something, that's not something that I really do too much. But I mean, certainly it's available to anybody and everybody. You certainly see it out there, which isn't a bad thing. But again, it's differentiating yourself by providing the right content at the right time.
Cool. So customer testimonials, and you talking about that, that's always a kind of a surefire win or another surefire piece of content. Do you see other types of video content as being valuable to certain businesses? And if so, what are those?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of small business clients that I'm talking to right now, you can create a video without a shoot at all, without video at all, for example. You can do it with just text and graphics. And that is kind of a cost-effective way to get into it. And there's so many platforms even to do that. Canva or Wave Video. I think Vimeo now has a video platform where you can create your own video. And then you combine that with, there's so many free stock photo sites. I mean, personally, I can tell when I see a stock photo versus an authentic photo. And I don't know how many people can, but I think if you can take a few pictures of your product yourself and use that instead of a stock photo, that's obviously going to be a little bit better. But again, there's plenty of stock photo that exists. And then, just titles and music, and you tell that story that way. And I've done plenty of those. There's lots of examples of those too, where it's just an easy, quick way to get something up there on social that's kind of engaging and eye-catching.
Sure. That's great. I guess as people are probably listening to this, they might be feeling overwhelmed all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, there are all these different directions I could go, this equipment I could get, like all these different things. What would you tell that person right now?
I'm overwhelmed. It overwhelms me because like I said, there's so many ways to go about it. So I think you just have to kind of, first of all, certainly people can reach, I'm happy to be a resource to anybody and everyone. I mean, I'm,
Sure.
Collaborating and sharing information is the key, right? And I think, like I said, I mean, there's more than one ways to do things, so it can be overwhelming. But I just kind of stick with what I know and try to share that with people. And if it, if I can be a resource, certainly let me know. But
sure. Do you have any other ideas or tips for people getting into it? Anything more specific?
Let's see. Besides making sure you have, what's the expression? Garbage in, garbage out, right? So you want to make sure that you, again, keep that tripod, keep that, have a microphone so your audio is good. I can't tell you how many times I've had people send me footage and say, can you fix this? And honestly, it's it's hard to fix bad audio. It's hard to fix shaky footage, but there are also lots of ways to incorporate amateur footage into something more polished. I have a lot of clients that will send me amateur footage from the field or from remote offices, and we kind of package it together with some graphics and music. And I mean, again, people are used to seeing stuff like this, especially now, kind of the lower, more homegrown video. When I have clients say to me shooting in 4K, honestly, I was like, why? Unless you are going to project something big at a big video wall at some conference or gala, if it's going to end up on the web or on social media, there is absolutely no reason to shoot it in 4K. That's my opinion. But
Sure.
but yeah, it's just telling the story and being creative and having fun with it and being authentic.
Mm, that's awesome. Now, I imagine there's probably also people out there that are trying to think about, well, what is the direct ROI of video? If I spend X amount, I should be able to generate X amount of leads. Talk to that person as well. What would you tell them in that kind of scenario if that's what they're thinking about?
I mean, it's proven. There's so many statistics out there about video marketing and how it increases ROI, how it increases retention, how it increases sales, how it gets people, higher click-through rates. I mean, I don't have them in front of me, but all you have to do is Google, video marketing data, and the percentages. It's obvious how video works. And in my examples, even the Boys and Girls Club video I did, I started 2 years ago creating one for their annual gala, and they play it right before this give a need part of the silent auction or fund a need, excuse me. And they said the numbers were up the first year. They played the video right ahead of time, and then the next year it went up even more. So, it's a direct correlation, to kind of showing that emotional piece right before the ask. And I think that's where those stories are so beneficial in those development videos. That can be really powerful.
That's interesting. Do you see a lot of, I would call it, diversified video content between the types of business as well? I know we've talked about client testimonials, but even amongst, maybe B2B or B2C, does it seem to be different?
Oh yes, oh my God, there's so many different types of videos you can produce. I mean, there's everything from the testimonial to, just internal communications. There's a lot of video content that you can create. There's how-to videos, right? I mean, how to do a process. It's so easy, quite frankly, to do screenshots, to record your screen. And there's programs out there that then will, ScreenFlow or Camtasia, that you can then manipulate a screen. You can call out certain areas in order to highlight the benefit or feature that you're trying to show on your software program. So that's just another example of a type of video you can do. There's recruitment videos I've done, kind of showing the culture of an organization. And so to get employees to come on, or to, for kind of camaraderie within an organization. What else? Product videos, product demos. We talked about the software product, but even just any type of product. What other type of, then there's the kind of the higher brand video, kind of for a much bigger organization that already has a following, but to kind of just, the example that pops to mind, one of my favorite projects I've done was a video for GE. This is probably a good, I don't know, a while ago, but we were tasked to, when you think of GE, you think of appliances, right? You think of kind of some basic things, but GE touches all aspects of your life at home. And so we were kind of tasked with this fun idea of how to create something that shows just how widespread GE touches your life, to a person's life. So we turned it around and said, well, what would your world look like without GE? And we produced a series of videos called The World Without GE. And on my website is one of those videos, it was really fun. That was like the other extreme. We hired actors. We did write a script for that, and used some fun visual effects to kind of prove that point. But so that's just a much larger idea of a brand video, right? To kind of promote that consistency.
Yeah. Do you find that certain platforms where videos are later published tend to do better in terms of engagement than others? Obviously, I think all of us who kind of agree YouTube is probably the king in that way. But do you see certain performance or engagement, I would say, between one platform or another?
I don't know that information. Again, what I hear is from my clients, how they use the videos, and they're either embedded on the site. A lot of times they'll be used in direct mail links I'll create something and then the customers will send them out in direct mail links. Certainly, yeah, YouTube or Vimeo or our, I don't know one versus the other about that. So,
Sure.
Okay. I know there's people that's all they do is, right. They study you guys, Market Vantage. You talk about SEO and how to get that content out there. I create the content and then I let people like you figure out the best way to to disseminate it.
Sure. I just wasn't sure if you were engaged at all on
right.
that side or even had recommendations. I guess let me zoom back a little bit then. Do you see businesses creating content based on the platform where it's going? As in, do you work with companies that would potentially produce a YouTube specific video versus something for, say, Facebook or LinkedIn?
Yeah, absolutely. Lately what I've seen with my clients is that we'll produce kind of the main video, right? So whether it be for an event or whether it be for the website. And then we can repurpose it in many ways, right? So you do a kind of a 1 or 2 day shoot, you get all the footage, you create your initial 4 to 6 minute video for whatever that might be. But then you can repurpose it and create smaller modules for social, or you can create smaller modules for, especially when I'm doing these interviews, I can talk to someone for 30, 40 minutes. And then obviously we use seconds of it in the kind of final edited piece, but there's so much amazing content that then can be repurposed and pushed out on social, in different ways, like what you were talking about. So that's kind of what I see more than, saying, let's create this video for YouTube. It's more, again, that's just distribution, right? That doesn't, whether it YouTube, Vimeo, social, those are all distribution channels, but the content is, what I create.
Mm-hmm. Great. What do you think is probably the greatest single piece of content that you've produced either for yourself or for a client up to this point in your career?
Oh, geez. That's something I could have thought about ahead of time. I guess I'm really proud of the videos I've done for nonprofits that have, I think, made a little bit of a difference in terms of raising money for the organization. I have loved working for big companies where I feel like I'm a part of their consistency of brand and to kind of push out creative pieces within a corporation. One of my all-time favorite jobs was way long ago for people who may have remembered Learning Smith. It was a toy store. We did a collaboration with Learning Smith and Jan Brett. Do you know who Jan Brett is? The child that she's an author. She's an author illustrator of children's books. Beautiful illustrator. And we got to go do a program, go into her house and shoot her. It was her book, The Gingerbread Baby, and we shot her with a bunch of kids making gingerbread and then reading the book and illustrating. That was like, because I had small kids at the time and it was like, oh, this is awesome. So that was really fun. That's on my website as well. The other thing I did put on my website just for fun is when I was a senior in high school, I did an interview with Bobby Orr. And I put that on my website to show how long I've been doing this. So my kids laugh now, but whatever. It's fun.
That's great. Would you have any other thoughts that you'd like to share just about video or, anything that we've kind of touched on today? Anything that's standing?
I think the bottom line is it doesn't have to break the bank, right? There are lots of different ways. Video production can range from way down here to way up here. There's production values all around, but quite frankly, when I think about the agencies that are, I probably shouldn't say this, but there's so many agencies that spend, charge a fortune. And I'm thinking I could do that just, myself sitting at my edit suite, but
right.
It's with everything. I just think that there's a wide range of production and value and, but production does not have to break the bank. There are so many ways that you could be creative with existing photographs, graphics, music. It's all about telling the story, having the right pacing, having the right music, balancing out all the different elements, balancing your visuals with the music to get the right emotion with the story. And then, so it's kind of all wrapped up to get the desired emotion and response that you want from the viewer.
Sure. That's great. Kristen, where can people find you online?
KFPmedia.net is my company.
Okay.
KFP, as in Kristen Flynn Productions. It's kind of a little, and I am Kristen Flynn, at Kristen at KFPmedia.net. And I'm sure you can post links. And like I said, I am happy to be a resource to anybody, ask questions or throw things by me, or let's collaborate.
Perfect. Well, Kristen, thank you so much for being here and for giving these practical tips. Really helpful. And I'm sure a lot of businesses will find these to be useful. So
I hope so.
Great. For more content like this, make sure to check out our YouTube channel, or just follow us online at marketvantage.com to learn more. But all the links from today's show notes will be in the show notes. So Kristen, thank you again.
Thank you. Stay safe.